All right, everyone, welcome to another recap chat. We're going to keep this simple. It's supposed to be over the end of Married at First Sight, the second reunion here, and I say this is just a big rehash up. I believe David and Michelle were talked to previously, and David does finally admit about the timeline, saying that when he sent the text, they were hanging out. Then they had went out once, and they hung out with someone's cousin. I can't remember if it's Madison's cousin or um, if it was his cousin, but we all know Married at First Sight, by the way, is a reality show that basically is an experiment where two people get married at first sight. They are connected by experts. They kind of match make them, and then they go on an 8-week process to see if they can make this work. If not, there's a divorce at the end. Or if so, it's a happily ever after, we hope. But he was saying, we went out, we hung out a couple times, and it was flirtatious. That's just the type of person he is. He was trying to say, he wasn't just trying to go after her, but he was just kind of a flirtatious person generally. And they did hang out a couple times. So he made it sound like, basically this story that they've been sticking to. But the past clips of the reunion, Madison said about 3 weeks in, something was happening between them. And that's pretty early on in this 8-week process. I don't know if anybody else even mentioned it was that early. It was supposed to be, I think, the last 3 weeks is where things supposedly went awry. But she sounds like she said 3 weeks in, there was something going. All right, so basically they realized they're never going to be able to really verify the truth. They're going to basically stick to their story. And we're not ever going to really know the truth. When David and Madison speak with the experts, his new boo, Madison, he declines to answer the timeline question again, stating that he already addressed it multiple times during the show. He doesn't want to keep rehashing it, I assume. Yes, it was the umpteenth time, and it was kind of like an interrogation, but I guess neither of them cracked completely. But Madison did reveal a little bit by what she said. And then they also showed the clip where he said at the honeymoon he was looking at Madison like he wished that, what if she would have walked down the aisle. So, I'm keeping it simple, not a whole lot of details, but the experts and cast all, they kind of give in to the David and Madison show, and ultimately they wish them the best. They also say another consideration, I think this is what Michelle said, is Madison is younger than her, and that may be why she was open to him being in the situation he was in, living at home with his family on his apartment, I say basement apartment. He admits that he actually said she's the breadwinner after she mentioned, Michelle said, she is younger, but then David said she's the breadwinner, which I didn't expect that. But he also said he pays for everything when they go out, and he's very courteous and kind to her and a gentleman to her. But he didn't say he pays for everything. He said pays for everything when they go out. So when he said she's the breadwinner, I see where that's going. But we're going to talk more because we're going to have a few spin-off videos connected where we're going to kind of focus on certain people. And that's why we're really going to keep this simple. Plus, it's just really a rehash. This whole thing, really. So she wanted him to move in. She kind of rushed the issue for them to move in together. So he said he was gonna try to move in 6 to 9 months, but she said things were progressing so fast. She wanted him to move in with her. And the place that they're in is really small. She travels for work a lot, and he's at work a lot as well. So they're never really home. And it's a small space. She travels for work a lot. She's putting him in a really nice, cushy position, kind of similar to when he was living in his parents' basement. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. Camille, out of nowhere, jumps in and stands up for her bestie, David. And, I'm going to talk about that as well when it comes to his living situation. And she basically saying he got a bad rap, and he's really a great guy. And David was like, thanks, bestie. But, I think he felt kind of funny, too, about her jumping to his defense. It kind of made him look some kind of way. To me, I felt like it wasn't needed for her to do that. To me, I feel Michelle is kind of an outsider because everyone is just kind of on David's side. If not David and Madison, they're kind of like embracing them. And I feel like Michelle is still like not really connected with everyone and kind of on the outs. That was her personality anyway, but seeing this and how people are trying to stand up for David and all of that, the tables really have turned. I mean, they already were in his favor anyway, but we really see whose side that they're on. I don't think they hate her, but I just don't think she fits within their dynamic. The experts aren't happy with the portrayal of David to his wife, Michelle, but they are taking credit for their connection. They warn them that, it's a bumpy road ahead, but they can make it last. Don't let how you started this relationship indicate how you continue and how this relationship finishes out. So they give some pretty decent advice without throwing them under the bus. Michelle does hope that she's married at some point in the future. She's just dating right now for fun, and she says she realized she needs to work on dropping her walls and being more open-minded, and I won't say the word kind, but I say that myself, more kind-hearted and just open-minded and just dropping her walls. And she said maybe we could have been friends if I wasn't so harsh on him. She knows her and David would never have worked out anyway, and her financial state of a marriage and the person she's with is an important part to her. And David kind of let us know that for Madison, that wasn't what she was focused on, and she was more focused on him and the type of person he was, I believe. So that, I guess that's why they work. Carla and Juan, they talked together. They complimented each other before they came out. He complimented her dress and all of that. And Juan was just really into the dress, I guess. But they're just friends anyway. But during the talk, they didn't work out, of course. They admitted they just had a different flow with each other. She knew on the honeymoon when he ditched her to hang out with David that basically something was off and this may not work. And he says after knowing her for about 3 or 4 days, he felt that there was no real click there. And, the whole fairy tale thing died down for him, and it wasn't going to be, wasn't realistic to him and his mindset. They did find each other physically attractive, but they had different lifestyles that they weren't attracted to. But they did respect each other's lifestyles and the type of people that they were. She respected that he was driven. He respected that she kind of went with the flow and kind of did her own thing. So they respected each other, but they're just going in different directions. And he says his new partner, Juan, has a new partner. And he said she's fun-loving and outgoing as well, like Carla. She's also Brazilian, so she is following in his heritage. That's the type of woman that he's with now. But they just have more of a synchronicity, a similar life path. So that's why things seem to be working for them. He also said something about, I think they were saying, how do you feel that you were a good husband to Carla? And he said, I was faithful, loyal, and all that. And the host, Kevin Frazier, was like, well, that's kind of what you're expected to do in a marriage and basically in a relationship anyways, to be faithful and loyal. But what more did you bring? And I guess she was saying basically the fact that you forgot about me was kind of a big deal. So that wasn't a good sign, and that wasn't being, to me, I guess, a very good husband early on in the process. And maybe he just gave up because he wasn't feeling the connection. And a lot of times that's what people do. But again, we were saying it's cool, at least he was polite and faithful and loyal to his marriage. But I feel like it's people that think, I was faithful, I was loyal, so I'm a good person. No, just because you don't cheat, that doesn't mean that you are a good spouse and everything's going good with your relationship. It takes more than just not cheating. That's the basics. People think they're going above and beyond by not cheating. Then you don't know how to be a partner or a spouse or whatnot. So he was kind of being basic in that moment. They talked to the guys, and the guys kind of really just dish about David's eat you up text and how they probably would have did something differently. They wouldn't have had such a bad lie. They didn't get into a lot of details, but I think one thing was mentioned is just act like you were drunk texting her, and they would have been able to kind of get over that. But the food part was like a bad lie, and most of them said they would have had a better lie. All in all, the guys, though, for the most part, seem like they are on good terms. I didn't see David try to shake Alan's hand this time, and I probably wouldn't have shook his hand, but I feel like David's, like, because he's moved on, Alan, he moved on, that, his feelings aren't so tense against David, but I wouldn't call them besties. And for the two couples that kind of got played during the process, or the two partners, they talked to Michelle and Alan. The experts basically reassured them that they'll be fine as they continue their search or their walk in love, because we know Alan is now taken while Michelle is dating. Again, she did admit and saw her flaws, and I appreciate she did that. At the end of the day, I kind of think she got a little bit beat up. And, Madison and David won the night in there, and they kind of took over the show in a positive way. Speaking of taking the night, finally, MM and Akechi, they take the night. We see actually how thirsty that M was with her love for Brandon. And Brandon revealed she had quite a thirst, right? And that Akechi just was not able to quench that thirst, so to speak. He said she was a beautiful queen and she was really thirsty for love. And thirsty is a good word. For me, with him, his childish behavior was a bit of a cringe, even for the experts. Akechi again admits, before Brandon comes out, he admits, that he took fault in the marriage failing, and he wasn't really ready for everything that it entailed. And when Brandon comes out, Akechi refuses to share the stage with him or shake his hand, and Brandon's all giddy. He said, I knew he wasn't man enough. I won the bet, right? So Akechi, seeks comfort in the embrace of another messy man, Mr. David, in the back with his boo Madison. He kind of embraces him as he goes back there. I guess Akechi's still kind of tender, but Brandon is kind of like trying to rub it in his face, definitely. Brandon reveals M and himself had a wild night together, and he accompanies this with sound effects and hand gestures. Again, probably the biggest cringe moment with them. I don't think he ever left elementary school, by the way he's acting at this point. Sadly, they let us know that they miscarried a child. But before that, Brandon asked Pastor Cal to marry them right away. And Pastor Cal takes the smart approach and says, he needs to talk with them first and give them counsel. And I said, that's a good pastor. That's how it should be done. People will marry you for $1 or marry you because it's their job willy-nilly. But, you should always do that counseling portion. And I do believe Pastor Cal is leery. And from the little display Brandon showed in front of them, I could understand. We got some face from Dr. Pia, and I do want to congratulate Dr. Pia because she is expecting a child, and she said she didn't know her and her husband were going to be able to have a child, so it shows that she was having fertility issues, but she was blessed to get pregnant, and hopefully everything goes well into full term. We're hoping the best for Dr. Pia, but she was giving us face. She gave us a little face during I believe David and Madison's talk. She gave us even more face with M and Brandon, and it was very much warranted. This guy takes to me M's black girl magic down a notch. Just as David and Madison, they also pledged their love for each other, dedication, and all of that. Compared to David and Madison, the mess on the show, M and Brandon, they made me shake my head. Madison and David made these two look good. Actually, no, I messed that up. Actually, M and Brandon made David and Madison look good. I'm sorry. That was, he just brought out a little ratchetness that was already there, I'm sure. And they just, to me, are giving ratchet couple. I mean, I don't know what the new phrase is to use now, but, I'm just going to use that one. No, but at the end of the day, I just hope for happiness all around and that knots are tied, wrongs are made right. And I hope you all have a wonderful life. Just a little bar at the end. But they're trying to show us, there's more. I mean, they look like they were showing us, they were like, next time. And I was like, why is there a next time? Is there another episode? What are you guys doing? I'm confused. I will see what next time means, but we did a quick one this time, so I'm wrapping it up. But yeah, I do wish everyone the best, rights being wronged. I do, as far as I see M getting dresses and trying on wedding dresses and whatever's coming on next, which I don't know what that is. So I do hope Brandon is going to do right by her and wife her as she's expecting. She considers this person the love of her life. I do feel at some point David and Madison will get married. Should they? I think they need a little more time. I think they need a little more work on themselves just as people. But I hope that they do David and Madison take that step. And to me, once these two couples tie the knot, I think the season will be wrapped up in a nice bow. And, life goes on and we had some more happily ever afters to follow. And I think that will be a good thing. And that will be a step in making right some of those wrongs. All right, guys, thoughts, comments, questions, you can email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com. Go to cbiztvmedia.com where you can listen to this presentation as well as other faith, love, and trend topics on our other platforms. But thank you for being here. You can drop comments, or you can again email me with your thoughts, comments, and questions. We wish you the best. Again, all the best, and God bless.